At the age of 17, Sigmund Freud was a student at the University of Vienna. He was poor and Jewish, so he started clinical practice as a neurologist to earn money. In the late 1870s, Freud met his mentor, the physician Joseph Breuer, who supported him while he was attending his therapy sessions. Freud noticed that Breuer was using a very unique method that was unheard of before with his patients, which was the abreaction, a sort of hypnosis to release repressed emotions through the cathartic method, and they remembered nothing after waking up. This attracted the attention of Freud and made him realize that there is more to the mind than he ever heard of. Both the conscious and unconscious mind are not two minds, there are merely two spheres of activity within one mind. Joseph Murphy says that an excellent way to get acquainted with the two functions of your mind is to look upon your own mind as a garden. You are a gardener, and you are planting seeds in your subconscious mind all day long based on your habitual thinking. As you sow in your subconscious mind, so shall you reap in your body and environment. Your subconscious mind accepts what is impressed upon it or what you consciously believe. It does not reason things out like your conscious mind, and it does not argue with you controversially. Ideas can be conveyed to it by repetition, faith, and expectancy. The subconscious mind is very sensitive to your thoughts. The main point to remember is once the subconscious mind accepts an idea, it begins to execute it. It is an interesting and subtle truth that the law of subconscious mind works for good and bad ideas alike.
So the Himba tribe in Namibia are one of those cultures where in their language there's no color blue. So for them, blue, as with the ancient Greeks, blue is a variant of green. So when they're shown colors with green and different greens and blue, they find it hard to distinguish between the greens and the blues.
Your subconscious mind does not engage in proving whether your thoughts are good or bad, true or false, but it responds according to the nature of your thoughts or suggestions. For example, if you consciously assume that something is true, even though it may be false, your subconscious mind will accept it as true and proceed to bring about results, which must necessarily follow, because you consciously assumed it to be true. A simple illustration for this is when you say, I do hate or dislike a certain food, and the occasion subsequently comes that you are served that food in a meal, you will get an indigestion. If you suggest to your subconscious mind prior to sleep, I want to get up at 6 a.m., it will awaken you at that exact time.
Now, the latest research in neuroscience says you can change your brain just by thinking. So then, as you begin to think about a new possibility, and your brain begins to fire in new sequences and new patterns and new combinations, and you begin to plan your behaviors, and you begin to review in your mind, mentally rehearse who you're going to be in your life.
Biologically, it is related to neuroplasticity. In simple means, the brain changes with learning. When we learn a new thing, our brain structure changes and new connections are made between neurons. The same goes with thinking positively or negatively. You will create new structure, new neural pathways, and muscle memory that the unconscious mind will work upon. Cognitive sciences have found that physical actions are partly mental, and mental actions are partly physical. Psychologists and psychiatrists point out that when thoughts are conveyed to your subconscious mind, impressions are made in the brain cells. As soon as your subconscious accepts an idea, it proceeds to put it into effect immediately. So the way of your thinking is the way you are living. Joseph Murphy says, we injure ourselves by the negative ideas which we entertain. The subconscious mind is amenable to suggestion. It does not show you a preference for one course of action over another. To illustrate the amenability of the subconscious mind to suggestion, if a practiced hypnotist suggests to one of his subjects that he is Donald Trump or even a cat or a dog, he will act out the part with inimitable accuracy. His personality becomes changed for the time being. He believes himself to be whatever the operator tells him he is. This was proven by many experiences in the past. The constructive and destructive power of suggestion can root back to infancy in the majority of us. We have been given many negative suggestions by ourselves, not knowing how to thwart them, so we unconsciously accept them, like saying, I can't, I must not, I will fail, I haven't got a chance. Every part of our being expresses the vitality. Body, financial status, friends, and social status represent a perfect reflection of the idea we have of ourselves. This is real meaning of what is impressed in the subconscious mind, and which is expressed in all phases of our life. If you have conveyed erroneous concepts to your subconscious mind, the sure method of overcoming them is by the repetition of constructive, harmonious thoughts, frequently repeated, which your subconscious mind accepts, thus forming new and healthy habits of thought and life, for the subconscious mind is the seat of habit. Heterosuggestion means suggestions from another person. In all ages, the power of suggestion has played a part in the life and thought of a man, in every period of time and in each country of earth. In many parts of the world, it is the controlling power of religion. Suggestion may be used to discipline and control ourselves, but it can also be used to take control and command over others who do not know the laws of mind. In its constructive form, it is wonderful and magnificent. In its negative aspects, it is one of the most destructive of all the response patterns of the mind. If you go to someone experienced in a field, for example a sailor, and you say to him, "You look like you're having a seasick," according to his temperament, he either laughs at your joke or expresses a mild irritation. Your suggestion fell on deaf ears in this instance, because it was associated in his mind with his own immunity from it. Therefore, it called up not fear or worry, but self-confidence. One must remember that a suggestion cannot impose something on the subconscious mind against the will of the conscious mind. In other words, your conscious mind has the power to reject the suggestion given. In the case of the sailor, he had no fear of seasickness. He had convinced himself of his immunity, and the negative thought has absolutely no power to evoke fear. Each of us has his own inner fears, beliefs, opinions, and these inner assumptions rule and govern our lives. A suggestion has no power in and of itself except if it's accepted mentally by you. This causes your subconscious powers to flow in a limited and restricted way according to the nature of the suggestion, like the media does nowadays. So, heterosuggestion is the act or instance of putting something into one's mind, the mental process by which the thought or idea suggested is entertained, accepted, or put into effect. Unless, as an adult, you use constructive autosuggestion, which is conditioned in therapy, the impressions made on you in the past can cause behavior patterns that cause failure in your personal or social life. It means releasing you from the mess of negative verbal conditioning that might otherwise distort your life pattern, making the development of good habits difficult. Stress is a major factor in saving humanity throughout the whole evolution, yet when you face too much of it, it turns to be paralyzing and stem you from doing things the right way, especially new experiences. Mental rehearsal is all about doing the thing in your mind before doing the thing, and doing it even better in real life because you have done it before, because the mind cannot distinguish between reality and non-reality. So according to the mind, you are gaining experience. People often associate mental rehearsal with positive self-talk or imagining scenes that make us feel good. The main thing about mental rehearsal is to change the emotional reactions while facing different situations to reach a positive coping. Whether they are your enemies or allies, one must admit that the SEALs are some of the toughest human beings on the planet. And they use the mental rehearsal to ensure high success rate. Brandon Webb said, "There is a common misperception that to make it through SEAL training, you have to be a super athlete. Not so. In its purely physical requirements, the course is designed for the average athletic male to be able to make it through. What SEAL training really tests is your mental mettle. It is designed to push you mentally to the brink over and over again until you are hardened and able to take on any task with confidence, regardless of the odds or until you break." One of the rehearsal techniques is desensitization. It is a technique used by repeatedly facing threatening situations under calm, controlled emotional conditions, so the mind learns to respond in desired ways, free of threat. The mind effect even worse. When men are high on morale, they make miracles, even if they are short on numbers and weapons. Some get paralyzed by fear, and some sacrifice themselves for the strong belief. To sum this all up, check regularly on the negative suggestions that people make on you, and always remember that physical inertia favors mental passivity and renders the mind more receptive. You do not have to be influenced by destructive heterosuggestion, and speak to yourself in a positive, correct manner in order to keep your mind healthy. That's not achievable all the time, but if you fail or fuck things up, learn to fail quickly and spend less time failing and get back on your feet.